Good evening, everyone. My name is Kolela Souma. I am the program manager for the entrepreneurship program in South Africa. I thought today should be the most appropriate day to have a masterclass on how to really do business development and what are the pivotal things that we need to focus on as we develop our business as entrepreneurs. I've invited a colleague of mine. I happen to know Cheslin personally. He is a friend of mine. And Cheslin himself is an entrepreneur. He's a founder and the managing partner of TrustLink. I will let Cheslin to share more about what they do at the end. And as he closes off, I would like him to also avail his services to all of you in exactly how you can take up the opportunities that he taps into in various forums. I'll make an example. I'm part of the tier judging panel for those who are pursuing technological products and services that could change the world. Cheslin and myself sit on that judging panel of all of those where people could win incredible prizes, including traveling across the world to showcase their products. Not only just that, a number of investors, because part of that is investment, so they could have that. So I'm just making an example of an opportunity that you guys have for having Cheslin as delivering the masterclass. Fortunately, he's not alone today. He has one of his co-founders and partner, Siyabonga, whom he will introduce shortly as well. We will be taking questions towards the end. Just to give you some insight, Cheslin, we have people across the African continent. Some of the details may not specifically be pertinent to them for various reasons because we work in different landscape. However, the opportunities, I think Africa works very similar. And whenever they have questions, we may have to either pull them on a side and try to deal with that separately. I'm just sensitizing you in terms of the type of audience we have. Cheslin, you have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing today? Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great stuff. Yes, sorry, let me just see here quickly. There's a bit of an echo on my side.
Correct.
Yes, on your side.
Give me one moment.
I think one of your devices must be on no audio and the other one can be on audio because you're going to be talking through it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Now you are muted.
I just want to find my other device.
Yeah, so I can hear everyone. I can hear you.
It might be happen that it might be the earphones, Chairs. Please double check that also.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I can hear you.
Is it more clear than before?
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's okay.
Yes, clear.
Yeah, I can hear very well.
Let me try and do this way and close the screen. I apologize for this, guys. Okay, are we on the same page? Is this still an echo?
It's still the echo, Chase, and it's 2 screens for you.
Okay, I'm going to close this one. Let me.
No. Check it by yourself. You can remove the earphones from the device and see if that works actually.
Is it much clearer now?
Yes.
Crystal clear, boss.
That's better.
Okay. I'm just trying to increase my volume here and take it off. And now, can you guys hear?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
And is there
All
still an
good.
echo? I just want to remove the echo.
No, no, it's fine now.
Great stuff. So thank you so much for your time. Firstly, it's after hours and you guys are with us, and we really appreciate your time. And I hope this session brings a lot of value to everybody. As I will introduce myself, my name is Cheslin Denman. I am 27 years old. I'm the co-founder of Tiwana Africa, and my partner is with us today, Siyabonga, Tiwana. He'll do a slight introduction of himself. Today, his connectivity where he's staying right now is a bit not so great, so I'm going to be running the presentation today. But needless to say more, I just feel very privileged to be in this room with everybody and to share some insights of our learnings. And what we have been on a mission to do is to grow the SME landscape. And we want to just share some touch points with you today in how you can benefit from not only our system, but our guidance, our credible guidance. So Sia, if you can quickly just introduce yourself to the audience, I would appreciate that.
Okay, cool. Thanks guys for everyone that actually made it to the meeting, and the organizers of the meeting for inviting me as well. So my name is Sia. I'm a co-founder of a couple of companies. The first one is Crowdsourcing Africa, which Ches is going to share most about, which is our recent startup actually. And then the other one, it's Kayak Innovations, which is a startup that I started with my business partner, Tiwana, and we've been running that for 8 years now. I'm heading the business development of that firm, and within that 8 years, I'm purely focusing on business development myself, exclusively or alone. And we've managed to grow that business to doing work in the US, in the UK, Australia, and 5 other African countries, in the SADC region in Africa, and Denmark as well. So lucky enough, we have been recognized by Forbes Africa 30 Under 30 in 2019 in the technology sector. That is myself and my business partner, Tiwana. And it's such a privilege to actually be here. I am here to answer some of the questions and assist where possible when it comes to business development and share my experience as well.
Thank you so much, Sia. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I for myself, we've been at Crowdsourcing. We've grown this entity from startup. We bootstrapped for the last 3 years. Registered for 2 years, and we've been going strong. We partnered up with some big DFIs, and yeah, that's furthermore than that. That was a bit of a kick into. So I'm going to go through the agenda of what we're going to be discussing. The business of today, we're going to touch on sales, and please bear in mind this is very high level. It's just touch points on the certain topics. Anything further than that, we can obviously dive into deeper. I can give you guys my details, and then we can obviously discuss it. We can also be discussing business development and then strategic partnerships, and then we'll take some questions and answer there afterwards. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear.
Yes, we
Loud and
can.
clear.
Loud and clear.
Awesome. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is a topic that everybody wants to know about, is marketing their business. And the first thing that I thought of speaking about is to defining your persona. Now, what is a persona? It is a particular audience, right? That one wants to invite to their business. It's the people or the person that you're going to sell your product to. Now, understanding your audience is such an important element of your business. An example, when we started out Crowdsourcing Africa, our audience was particular people that applied for tenders. To find that was not actually our audience. Our audience was people that wanted to become tender ready. Understanding that process, you got to dive deep into the marketing element of things. And once you understand your audience, you'll be able to market to that particular persona or that particular audience in a much more direct way. if you understand engagement, you look at platforms like Facebook, you look at platforms like Instagram, where you can obviously market your services. If you, for instance, take a person that sells, let's say, products like cleaning equipment, there is obviously Facebook Marketplace, where you could obviously go out and market. That is open. You're casting a wide net. But if you understand that the person that buys that particular product, it's somebody that is in the marketplace, but they're at a particular audience that's in the Gauteng province, you can master your net to attract that particular person and speak to them directly. So design your user journey. So this is something that I took a while to understand. The user journey is how to get that particular audience funneled through your particular business. How do you see them? How do you acknowledge them? How do you provide them with your service? And then from there on out, basically get them through your journey and be able to actually sell a product to them. So that is basically the user journey that I want to speak about. Document and measure your progress. Now, when I started our business, we were just selling crazy every single day, picking up the phone, speaking to various clients, having meetings. And yes, we made sales, but were they actually using our service and our product? I would say no, because we were never measuring anything in terms of analytics. Were they touching our user journey experience? Were they going through the next step? What was the blockages that didn't allow them through the funnel that we had created for ourselves? And at a certain stage where I started obviously reading a lot about this, it's called the book I was reading is called Traction, how to understand or guide that journey. And that's through your Google Analytics, by able to see how many users came onto your service, or how many people clicked on your link that you posted about, and then see, is that marketing material generating the right consumer? And is that consumer buying your product? And if not, you obviously have to then pivot and change that structure. And these are all tools that I would say in marketing that makes a massive difference. Knowing your customer, knowing what that customer needs, and understanding them. It's a lot to do with the psychology. So, I was engaging with a funeral service company. Now, a funeral service company, everybody dies, but you've got to understand who is the person that tells people about that funeral service company. Because I don't know if you guys know of a company called Doves. Now, Doves has been there for years. All right. It's what my granny used. They took our policies there, and there's a new service, a new company that started up, Samuel Funeral Services. And we looked at the psychology of the audience. There was a leader in the African community that would always guide people in choosing the right funeral service covers. And that is the person that you got to obviously understand how he thinks. How does he make the decisions? And once again, reiterate and improve. So how to analyze this data, and what is the necessary steps to improve. So that's basically the touch points of the marketing that I want to cover. And I think these small things, that we unpack within TrustLink to several businesses really helps them grow from strength to strength on these. Obviously, there's a lot more that we could dive deeper into, but for this particular purpose of this audience, I thought this would be the most relevant topics to speak about. You're obviously looking at sales, right? So understanding your sales cycle. Sorry, Sia, do you want to add anything there to marketing, sir? Okay, so if you look at sales, right, understanding your sales cycle. So if you look at when does the customer buy, what is the customer here to buy, and what are the things that the customer needs is an important element. If I take it back to my business, I have a turnaround time of about 3 days in my sales cycle. The client will get exposed to my business. The client then will make a decision on what product is suited for him. And from there on out, he'll then decide what service offering and then pay us, right? So understanding the journey of their customer and what does your sales cycle look like would be really, really important. Rather than, I'm currently dealing with informal traders at the moment. We're having a workshop tomorrow. And, I was asking them in a gap assessment, what does the sales look like? And they said, we stand on a corner and we sell our meat to our clients. And I said, okay, cool. So how does the sales work? And, defining the strategy, and this is what we're going to dive into tomorrow, is that the sales comes in from understanding that the sale needs to be made, that who are the clients that's going to come and see them. Do you understand? Marketing to that audience, telling them about promotions and specials. These are the things that can define your sales cycle. And then obviously, defining your strategy and execution. So a lot of the times when I started, my business at an early stage, we used Excel. Excel was a perfect medium to unpack and write the sales data down. We call it tracking the sales journey on, warm leads, cold calling leads, warm leads, and then obviously who are the sales leads. And that journey, we could identify ratios of how long does it take for the journey for the sales cycle to close, where do they get stuck, how many people in the warm state and why are they in the warm state, and then unpacking, documenting that process, and then measuring it. Now on a scale, if you're doing a measuring on a monthly basis, a weekly basis, and a quarterly basis. Measure your progress in sales is always an element, because then once you measure that progress, you start actually identifying the problems, pivoting it or changing it, and then obviously reiterating and improving it. And since I started doing the sales cycle approach, I won't lie, we have increased our sales on a dramatic level. And it's a lot of the other businesses, should work in the same sense. I would say, obviously, all businesses are different. Everybody has their own sales cycle, but defining that process would be very, very important. All right. Now, one of the coolest things that I like, and Sia obviously helped me with this along my journey, as they have, tons more experience, and that's why I partnered with them, because that strategic partnership was important for me to scale TrustLink Africa. But fun tools that we use on a day-to-day basis is Trello. Now, Trello is a application where we record our data, or things like, for instance, what tasks need to be done for the day. We track it on a weekly, or we put in the to-do list of what we need to actually attack. And also for all businesses, that's another nice hack to use, to do progress completed. That journey obviously can be shared amongst the task or the working community. And a lot of our small businesses, we don't have a lot of staff. So there's 2-3 people, and sending spreadsheets over email can be quite tedious. Data can be lost. But on Trello, it's an online approach. That's quite the fun tool that I thought, nice hack. And then obviously Calendly. Calendly, we set up meetings often. We are on LinkedIn, especially. I would put out, on certain topics like this particular session, I've had with many other. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you can
Yes,
hear
yes,
you.
we can.
Okay, just checking. So
Yes, we can hear you,
Calendly.
Sven.
Right. So
Yes,
Calendly is a tool where you can obviously download. I can send you guys links if you guys want this information. But you can set up meetings with people on topics of interest. We speak about business development quite often, because it's one of the tools that really helps businesses grow. So Calendly, I uploaded on LinkedIn, and people can then click on a link and choose a time slot, where I don't have to go and say, okay, look in my diary, when am I available? The calendar is there. And if somebody's booked on the time in a time slot, you as the person that wanting to chat with me then can see, okay, he's not available at 11 o'clock, but he's available at 12. Let me book that session, and I can approve or decline to obviously engage with that particular person. And I think it's a really cool hack to have for Facebook, for LinkedIn. It's a universal tool that I think we have implemented in our business. Obviously, Excel and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great marketplace for conversational business. I spend, if you look at my days, I wake up in the morning at about 6 o'clock in the morning, every morning, and I spend about an hour on LinkedIn reading up on articles related to my business. I follow professionals that's in my industry, because I can see what my competitors are doing. I can see what people that's in the same, industry, the IT sectors, the services that we do, what are they up to? And it keeps me up to date. And also it identifies the people that I can target and form prospectual conversations with. So that's also another cool hack. And then obviously Excel is your standard tool that can help you in leaps and bounds, track data, collect information, sales data from what you are selling, etc. And a notepad. I don't know if you guys ever use this, but it's so important to me. Every single day, I'll open up a notepad and I save my notes, things that I think about, conversations that I have. You know, if I'm not capturing it in Excel and it's things that I just want to obviously conceptualize, I'm thinking it, but I'd rather put it in my notepad. That way I can always pull that up at a later stage and I can pick up a conversation that I had with, you know, Jane. And I can say, Jane, in the conversation that we had, you know, I made these notes about your business and it really helps. This is a cool, fantastic tool called Handshake. It's a new development tool that Kayak Innovation that Siya runs. It's more for endorsements. So when clients come and sit with me and I do an exceptional job with them, they can provide me with an endorsement. It's very similar to a recommendation. But people, how do you obtain let's put it to you this way. How do you get recognition for, firstly, one thing that you do right in your business? And can people vouch for you? Because word of mouth, I believe that is the best form of advertising or marketing your business. That's when you find product market fit. When somebody's at a braai and says, do you know of this person's business? Because believe me, from that braai, somebody's going to that company and going to go look them up. And Handshake is a digital tool that we obviously have created on a medium platform that can create that validation. And obviously time boxing as well, and repetitive tasks. So delegating repetitive tasks is, I made this mistake very early in my business, is when I was doing something and I duplicated information from spreadsheet to spreadsheet, you know. And what had happened was I found myself working backwards. And when I identified that I was, you know, recurring the same task over and over again, especially when I was outsourcing work to other people, you know, where Trello would then bring me back. And that's where that hack comes in, where I would say, okay, I'm busy with this task, I'm in progress and I've completed it. And that way everybody in the business can see that. And it really helps us achieve, you know, especially procurement opportunities when I'm busy with orders or applying for opportunities, making sure that we don't duplicate on our work. It obviously is a time saver, and these hacks would obviously help you in that progress. Now, emotional intelligence, I can't stress this enough. It's one of the most important things in business. Emotional intelligence is, if I can unpack it a little bit for you, it's when you know your time. Myself and Sia, and we have a partner called Tyron Adams, they work best in the morning. But if you ask me, from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night, I am the most energetic. I don't know if you guys can see my energy levels are there, you know. This is the time that I thrive. I get most of my tasks done because in the day, my meetings drain me. I understand my emotional intelligence to say, at night, it's when I do administrative work. In the day, it's the time that I meet people. Do you understand? My energy levels will reside with people in the day, but my administrative function of my emotional level is not there. I don't get that task done at night. So, I mean, in the day, it's rather at night. So understanding those things is imperatively important within business. And Sia, could you give us a scenario of emotional intelligence? Are you with us? Okay, I'm not sure if he's with us.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm around. So cool. So when it comes to emotional intelligence, right, and you're doing sales or you're doing business development, sometimes we behave differently when it comes to rejection, right? There might be a proposal that I'm working on. It's worth R1 million or whatever the amount is. And then I try to follow up with the person. They're like, now decided to go up with another service provider. That sometimes might affect you, especially when you know that your business and yourself, you definitely need that particular sale, because there is so much expenses that needs to be covered by the end of the week or the end of the month or whatever the case might be. So what I do prefer is I try to deal with issues that I know that when I deal with that, by the end of when I deal with that, if things doesn't go my way, it will break my day. So I try to deal with them towards the end of the day, so that I know that from the morning up until towards later in the day, then from then I won't be distracted because I was so focused. Then maybe in the last hour, the last 30 minutes of the day, I try to follow up and say, hey, Ches, do you still want to go ahead with that particular project? If he says no, then I know it's fine. Then I've got, 30 minutes or 15 minutes left on the day. Then I can deal with my emotions on the side, but then that doesn't still affect my business development or sales activities for that particular day. So it is something similar to that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, so business development is obviously my strongest point. That's what I do in TrustLink Africa. We all have our particular roles. Sia handles partnerships. He grows our partnership base. I handle the day-to-day operations, and Tyron obviously builds development of our product, which I'll show you guys links about. But having a plan of action for and designing goals, for one's business, I think it's one of the most things or the best thing that one can do. I have a daily task goal, I have a weekly task goal, I have a monthly task goal, and I have a quarterly task goal. And when I talk about these goals, is that in a time frame, if I look at the 24-hour day cycle, I obviously work, well, I'm an entrepreneur, I have to push harder than most, and I work about 12 to 14 hours a day. But I look at my day and I say, okay, cool. The things that are going to take me quick, where is the time slot for that? The things that proposals are going to take me about an hour, 2 hours, when do I position those things? And then I block out time, right? I block out time for that particular function. That is my focus point of my business. So in the morning, I usually attempt my sales, particular pitches, and I follow up with my clients because that obviously is my routine, the routine goal. And then once I hit those goals and targets, I obviously look at improving that goals. So if I'm doing, proposals, and I'm doing 2 proposals, let's say a week, next week I look at an additional goal. I say, okay, cool. Can we do 3 in that particular time slot? Because with goal orientation, you should obviously increase your goals, and that will obviously pump the needle of your business in terms of revenue, because building a prospectal line in your business would obviously make a major difference. And that's why we set goals up. And when we talk to a lot of businesses, in various industries, this is one of the strongest points that we focus on is business goal orientation and knowing what you're doing for the day. Because when I started out, all I was worried about is revenue, right? And my business partner at the time said, Cheslin, money will come, but you got to understand the user growth experience. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can, boss.
Okay.
Yes,
So
we can see.
you got to understand your user growth, obviously, through your business. And I said, okay, so how do I obtain user growth? And then we went back to marketing, the marketing elements. And he said, okay, now you got to set parameter goals and have a routine time set where we block out certain things, where we can focus and improve on those elements so you can reach your business goal targets for the week, for the month, for the quarter. And this through Sia and myself, and he guides me on this. And we work together in terms of achieving these goals. And if you do set these milestones for you, you will see that when you do not reach it, you then can evaluate it and say, why have I not reached it? What was the barriers for this week that I didn't achieve it? For me, the barrier for this week is I'm having too much meetings. I'm not focused on sales. That's my personal goal that I'm not achieving. It's Thursday today, and I'm thinking to myself, I need X amount of sales that I need to push for the week. So what was those deterring factors, and how can I improve that? And that's what I need to obviously focus on, because my week of on-time routine, I need to obviously adjust it and say, for this period of time, I truly need contact meetings. I need to focus on obviously building the pipeline, building the revenue. And believe me, it's tough when you're a small business, and a growing company, because I'm living the reality of most of you guys living. Some of you in this room today are startups, are thinking about how we're going to obviously run our business. What do we want to do? And then some of you guys are in a MVP stage where your business is running, but now you're hitting the ceiling because you're hitting that same, 15, 20,000 rand a month, and you can't cross that line. And the business development arm of it, where you're documenting your weekly strategy, your monthly strategy, your quarterly strategy. This is what makes that momentum of the business grow. And obviously evaluating and improving that through your data analytics is very, very important. So yeah, another business hack is if you look at positioning of your business. Many of us in this room, I'm not too sure, I'm tweaking on a connection, we are Black entrepreneurs, okay? And there's a lot of businesses that trade over, 10 million, which we call them QSEs. Now, in the world of QSEs, you need to have a partner. Yes.
No, finish that part. I wanted to get into the previous slide. I just couldn't find the best time to actually jump in on.
Go for it, yeah. Go for it. Please educate.
Sure. Yeah. So on setting up a routine, right? Documenting, evaluating, and improving, prioritizing a business goals for the week and stuff. I've heard that you've mentioned that you might have a lot of meetings for the week, and you know that there are certain activities on your business development and sales activities that you're not going to pursue, right? Depending on what size of your company. Sometimes if your company, you know that you are the sole person that does sales and business development, then you know that if you're not doing the actual work, then sales are going to be limited. So one other thing is that you need to find other ways of how you can bring people to your sales funnel without you actively doing it. So we've missed the part of where they do Facebook ads or Google ads and stuff like that, where you can try to channel people to come into either your website or either your social media platforms and stuff like that. But then once you do that, then at least you know that if I know that this week I'm busy with business proposals, then I'm not losing out, because there are people that are coming in on my database that I still have to call that they're interested in my service. So it's just that I wanted to add so that you don't miss out. So from the first of the month up until the last day of the month, you know that there are potential people that are potentially coming to you and the ones that you actively pursuing as well.
Thank you so much. That's real value. Thank you, Sia. So business development hacks, as I mentioned, you got QSEs, which is businesses that trade over, 10 million. And you as a BE partner, if we look at, for instance, let's say textile industry, there are people that need to utilize BE partners. Now we're going for procurement deal, and they have stipulated in the particular deal that 15 or 20% of the deal needs to be supported by small Black entrepreneurs. This is part of the ESD program that you need to go to them and say, lift up your hand and say, I am in this industry. Here I'm a service provider that provides credible service, and you can partner with me. And I think a lot of small businesses make a very important mistake that they try and do the whole journey by themselves, where there are other bigger corporate companies or bigger players in the market that actually need them. And the bigger players don't know that they exist. And this is where that sales development arm comes in, where you got to put yourself out there and tell those in industry that this is what you're doing, because you might find that they will be able to actually utilize services from you. And then we come to obviously the ESD part of things, where this is a lot of the time that the ESD arm works in a way that one can obviously leverage, small entrepreneurs, small businesses like ourselves can partner up. We're going in for a presentation now with MTN, where we're trying to obviously help MTN reach a larger scale, larger platform on small businesses, because they obviously focus on bigger data sales, etc. And once again, we're looking to bridge that arm with them, and it's part of the ESD program. So I'm just giving you guys fruitful thoughts that you can obviously, each business is individual, they're all different, but these are the things that one can obviously look at. Now, if you're a startup, a lot of businesses come to me for funding. Okay, we help facilitate funding applications, or part of our business. And these guys come to me with ideas, and they say, Cheslin, we want to apply for funding. And I say, okay, do you have 6 months worth of trading? Do you have 12 months worth of trading? Do you have management accounts? Do you have all the regulatory compliant documents in order? And they say, no, we got a fantastic idea. I had a guy that came to me about yesterday, manufacturing toilet paper, and needed 450,000 rand for a plant. And I said, there's no one in this day and age that will support a startup that doesn't have some sort of traction or doesn't show there is banking flow or transactional flow. And what happens here is we use that business as a little bit of a pivot. So how can we generate flow? Government has money. There's RFQs, RFIs that get sent out every day for different services. So tender notifications are alert. You can obviously look at them on SCNet. On e-tenders, on SA tenders. These are all free domains that you can go and find services that you need to obviously apply for. And that can slowly move the needle of your business, because the more that you apply there, you put up your margin, you make a small piece on the pie, and so that can obviously momenticize, and after 12 months, you will see that the bank account is moving. That way, you can obviously have you can go back to the funders and say, there is transaction in my account, but this is my vision. This is my goal, to actually own a manufacturing plant for toilet paper. Can you guys bank on me? Can you fund me? And the conversation, you will notice, is slightly different. Sia, can you speak about brand positioning and PR and media, if you don't mind?
Say that again, Chess.
Can you speak about brand positioning and PR and media?
Okay, cool. So brand positioning, right? I'll give you an example. So I'll give an example with Skywalk. So at Skywalk, they were a software development company. You find other software development companies that does exactly what we do. They're just bigger companies, right? So what we do, instead of trying to compete with them on other contracts or other deals and stuff like that, we position ourselves with a specific niche, whether we say we are an Android software development company, or we are a cross-platform where we AWS software development, or whatever the case might be, depending on your industry, right? You position yourself to that specific company that is larger than yourself and say, hey, look, we can work with you guys when you are full to capacity, and we can provide that capacity to you guys, right? So with you being positioned to who they are and what they do, then from then you can be in a position to get some work directly from them, right? So with the brand positioning, and when it comes to the niche as well, it falls over that particular same thing. Same applies with TrustLink. I'll give an example with TrustLink. So TrustLink, Cheslin already explained what we do. So we position ourselves to guys that offer funding, financial institutions, right? I'll give an example with business partners. So what we're trying to do with business partners themselves, we're saying, look, guys, you offer the funding to all the guys. What we're going to do for you, we're going to make your life easier, right? So we position ourselves as, we're going to make your life easier. We're going to do all the compliance elements of that, all the SMEs that comes through us that are looking for funding, and we send them directly to you guys. So you focus on what you do, we focus on what we do. At the end of the day, they're bigger than us from TrustLink's perspective, and we also get to benefit. So we serve them, and we also get served, and that's how we also grow.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much. So if we see how you hit the nail on the head there, thank you. So PR and media, if you look at, for instance, this, I'll give you an example. The funeral service company I was talking about, Samuel and Funeral Services, the guy that runs that, I'm not sure, you won't know, but I'm telling you now that they are run by two rugby players, two rugby stars, which is Ramon Samuels and Damien Villiser, the SA rugby player. Now that business on its own, they never speak about who they are that runs that business. And we're busy with a complete PR campaign and it's something what we call clout, okay? Using who they are as in industry to saying that they are busy with this particular service. That's just one example. The other example is obviously leveraging off other entities that you could possibly work with. So basically name dropping certain collaborations will be a very, very good PR structure. We do this so often when we do funding applications. We record the whole journey of start to finish. And once we actually get awarded a funding application and there's a drop of a manufacturing plant that's being built, we then will be able to show people that this was our journey And wouldn't your journey like yours look the same? And that is also attracting the particular audience that we want, for our business. Because as you can see, in our PR, we have presented success, and it relates to the person that obviously wants to access funding, and that will be obviously the PR exercise in media. So you could do small elements to your business. Could you guys go on mute if possible, please? So another exercise that I strongly advise is that, when you make it, if you're in the clothing and textile industry.
Yvonne, I sorry, Cheslin, sorry.
Sorry,
Cheslin, for a minute. Yvonne Kosi, could you please mute yourself? Yvonne Kosi, please mute yourself. Thank you. Yvonne?
Okay, can I, are they muted?
Please go ahead.
Okay, cool. So basically, if I can give you an example of a small PR exercise, where was my train of thought now? For instance, if you distribute clothing, right, or make clothing, how do you create, if you're selling a garment and there's a competitor, right, that is in your particular space, they advertise a garment for 150 Rand of a t-shirt, and you advertising a garment for 150 Rand. What is the deciding factor that will make somebody buy your product more? And that factor comes into, if you show people what extent that process look like in manufacturing, making that garment, showing how it goes to the distribution line, people will say, wow, but this garment goes through a lot before it actually comes to me as a customer. And that's how you create that PR exercise for customers to purchase that item over your competitor. That's just one exercise. And in our industry, in TrustLink, how we create a PR session is by having couch sessions with influential people. So we'll talk to the Minister of Finance. We'll go have workshops or meetings with leaderships and mentors in industry that can help small businesses. And we ask important questions as representing you guys, because a lot of the time small startups don't get to ask the questions, and we create a panel and we run it as a PR exercise. And this in market gives us credibility, So if we can, do you want to add anything this here?
No, Postman.
Great. So we look at strategic partnerships now. Sorry, I'm almost done. So preferential procurement policy framework. This is quite important. Sia, can you jump into that for me, please?
Okay, cool. So with the triple PFA, this is a South African regulation that requires large corporates, let's say Fortune 500 companies or Fortune 100 plus companies, to do work with smaller businesses in support of smaller businesses or to empower them. So these are deals that are in the government sector mostly. So it's government projects that requires large companies to work with smaller businesses. So the way that it works, if you are in South Africa, it works like this. So if you are a cleaning services and there is, I forgot the companies that are in the cleaning services that are much bigger in South Africa. So what they do, if there's a tender for 100 million Rand, they need to partner with a smaller business. So they're going to split the work in 70 to 30%, 70 for the large corporate, 30% for the smaller business. Same applies with the budget. If there's 100 million Rand, so the 70 million will go to the large corporate, and then the 30 million will come to the smaller business. But then you still have to be compliant, you still have to be vetted. And this is a massive opportunity if you're a smaller business in the country, because most large corporates, they struggle to find those smaller businesses, which they are the 30% partner. And government wants these 30% partners to be from townships, to be from disadvantaged areas. So if you're in a rural area or in a township, or even in an urban area, nonetheless, if you position yourself, then you can be in that position. So that's how it works. You get the 30% from the large corporate. They do the application of the tender. They just put you in, and then they put your documentation, and then you sign a service level of agreement amongst the two of you, and they take 70% of the risk. So yeah, that's how it works.
Great, thank you, Sia. I'll touch on distribution channels. So distribution channels is obviously different revenue streams that you could obviously either one get revenue for your business. So if I can give you an example of a distribution channel, we engage with obviously, like Sia mentioned, business partners. Now, business partners, one, we obviously generate everybody that's non-compliant. They then push them to us, right? So we help those people that are non-compliant, that can't go through their channel. They come to us. What we do for them is we then distribute them compliant SMMEs. So that's one of our distribution channels. You obviously then have another channel, which is from our, obviously we generate opportunities from marketing on Facebook, on LinkedIn. That's another distribution channel that we obviously tap into. Can I put this person on mute? I'm not too sure if it's them.
Yes, Ambulelo.
So once again, you got to find several distribution channels. And that way, sorry. Let me just put these people on mute. Can you guys go on mute? Okay, there we go. So the distribution channel, once again, is finding different revenue streams within one's business. Is it B2B that you're selling your product? Is it B2C, business to company that you're selling your product? One of the other things, example, we approach chambers. So we know chambers, what the function of a chamber is to lobby the audience that's in the chamber to different other partners, private supply chain opportunities. So what we tell them is like, you guys are lobbying SMMEs, but are they compliant? Do they meet the criteria? Are you checking these things? And they say, oh, Cheslin, we don't know. And I say, okay, cool. Run them through our app to see if they are compliant. And the forums love this, because now they can see which ones are credible, which ones are not, which ones need work, and which one. And that is the distribution. So we have several different distribution channels that we work with. And each of these channels create either one, user growth, or two, creates revenue for our business. And so we know, for instance, a lot of businesses, this guy was in an example today. I was on a conversation with a guy that manufactures bats. Now, he distributes bats to, the IPL, all these major cricket players. And he was telling me, Cheslin, since lockdown, he can't, these sports or procurement has stopped in this industry. People that have bats are not changing their bats. They're just going to keep their bats for now. And his business sunk. But he did not have other distribution channels. He should have had relationships with the likes of Game, with the likes of other distribution companies. So if his IPL teammates are not buying his bats, he has another generating avenue that can keep his business alive. So that's obviously on that, and touched a lot into that about the channel partners. And then non-competing partnerships, it's something that Sia mentioned earlier with what happened with Skywalk, is that we all do technology, as he explained. But for instance, with bigger technology companies like Bytes and Altron, all these businesses, they provide a particular service. So what Skywalk does, and again, to play in that same space and get recognition, is to then make their market niche. So you guys do this, but we can help you in this element. And that is obviously non-competing, because we're not doing the same thing, but we can service you and help you in that element. And that is the kind of strategic partnerships that's non-competing that you should think about. Sia, if you can collaborate or elaborate a little bit on non-competing, just give us another example about that for the workshop, please. Are you there, Sia?
Sorry, you were saying?
I asked you non-competing partnerships. Could you just elaborate a little bit about that?
Okay, cool. So when it comes to non-competing partnerships, right? So if you can look at fintech companies that are providing is either payment gateway, such as Yoko, such as Sage, not payment gateway alone, but guys that are in the financial industry. So it's the payment gate, it's Yoko, that could be Sage, that could be Zero, or anyone in that particular space, right? So their mission is to provide a platform that is going to help smaller businesses manage their finances effectively as well as efficiently, right? So us coming in to partner with Zero or with Sage, partnering with them, we are not offering that particular service to our clients, right? So when we partner with them, we are not competing, but we are all supporting smaller businesses. So if you partner with them, it makes sense because we have now a bundled service where we will offer to the SMEs. So as an example, we have a partnership with Pitch Payments, a Skywalk. Pitch Payment is a payment gateway. So what they focus on is just a payment gateway. So if they want someone to do the integration to their payment gateway, they don't do that. So what they do is they have partners such as ourselves and anyone else and say, hey, look, go speak to Skywalk. They're going to do the payment. They do the payment integration for your business, and that's how it works. Microsoft does the very same thing. So Microsoft doesn't offer the services to their customers, but they've got Microsoft partnerships across the country. In fact, all over the world. So it is that kind of partnerships that it's a non-competing partner, such as someone that is doing consulting services. If you're consulting to the kind of customers that I work with, makes the same thing. So if someone is running a digital marketing agency, if you partner with that person, you're not running a digital marketing agency yourself, but then you know that if someone is looking for, says, hey, look, my business, I have a budget of 10,000 Rand a month as an example. I want to do marketing so that I can bring brand awareness for my business in this specific country or in the outskirts of Africa or globally. You get to that, you send that direction, you send the client to a direction of the digital agency company. And if they're looking for someone that does, if they have clients that are looking for someone that offers the services that you offer, you guys are not competing, so you can work together. So that's the non-competing partnerships.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. So yeah, so basically that is it comes to the end of what we wanted to speak to you about. We will have, obviously, we're on 7 o'clock now, but we'll take a couple of questions. If you guys can raise your hand, and then I can obviously unmute you, or you can unmute yourself, and we can obviously tackle some questions. But what I do want to leave you with, just before I answer the questions, is that whatever your plan is within your business, it is not going to be easy, but you have to stick to your plan and improve your plan consistently, because believe me, the way we're going to change the landscape of SMMEs, if businesses like yourselves do not give up and persevere through the tough times, it is extremely challenging. I'm running my company now for 3 years, and I go through, vicious up and down, but it's those that can persevere through the tough times will reap the rewards of success and perseverance. And we thank the leaderships of this program to bring us together on a platform like this, so we can educate one another. And I hope that it doesn't end here. You guys can connect with us, and we can talk, and we can share guidance on things that is challenging and times of testing. We're going through a pandemic, people. Life is not easy during this time, but if we stick together, we will make it to the end. And I promise you, biblically, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And we need to just push through, and we will make a success of ourselves. And we need to change the narrative of our forefathers and our parents before them, where they decided to go and work and earn an honest living. We want to, as entrepreneurs, want to change that marker, and we want to create a legacy for ourselves and create a position of a place where we can leave a family-owned business and a legacy behind. So that's it from me. I just thought I'd leave you with something motivational. I will take some questions now if anybody has questions, and then I'll just touch on what Cheslin does in a quick nutshell there afterwards. And I think you guys got a gist of it through an examples. And then, yeah, we'll take it from there. Any questions? Over to the floor.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Great yourself. I can't complain.
Good, thank you.
Introduce yourself, please.
It's Jane speaking.
Hi, Jane.
Hi. I just heard you talk about the Trello. My venture is basically a law firm, and I actually wanted to have a hybrid in the sense that I wanted the traditional setup where clients can walk in and all of that, but obviously taking cognizance of the pandemic and everything that's going on, I also want to have a virtual platform for my firm. So when you spoke about the Trello where basically clients can go in, is that something that I could use where clients can basically access my diary and be able to set up appointments with me?
So a hack that I can obviously suggest you, which I had on the slide, is something called Calendly. All right. So you would market yourself and you would say, you will provide an hour, let's say the first session for free. Okay. Remember, nothing is for free. The client is spending time, and time is the most something that can never get taken back. So when you're trying to create leads as a startup, as a legal firm, you're creating, let's say 30 session or an hour free, where you can have a consultation session about the topic, that way you could give them credible guidance, and then you would send them on that advertisement where you're talking about the topic of what you want to obviously advertise in terms of a service. You can say, you can click on the Calendly link and set up a block session with me. So you could do that for, let's say, August. August is your Calendly month where you can obviously set up meetings with your clients. And then from your next month, you would have follow-up sessions with those clients, and they would then pay for that time. Because ideally, with your first session, you would make an incredible difference to them or give them credible guidance. And they would say, gosh, I need Jane's service. Jane is giving me valuable insight in terms of what my challenges are in terms of the legal aspect. And now we'll part with my rand for the value that she's bringing me. And just an easy mechanism for you to use as a hack is the Calendly approach. Go Google it. It should give you more of a detailed guidance, but I'm just giving you a little bit of a hack that you could use.
It's called Calendly.
Calendly, yes. The spelling is this here. You can see it on the screen.
But we can also assist you with that, just to set up. I mean, with Calendly, there is a freemium version, there is a paid version, and you can only create certain kind of calendars in there. I can assist you with that. But then, just to emphasize on what Cheslin is actually speaking about, there is certainly value there. So most of our clients that comes in, either through TrustLink or through, let's speak about TrustLink as an example. Most of our clients that comes in through TrustLink to us, it is because we had a session with them. We spoke to them. This is, so give you an example. You spoke about Calendly. If I can assist you with Calendly, and then you set up your calendar nicely, and then things start to happen for you. You're like, okay, cool. Sia or Cheslin, what more can you guys actually do for me? Like, okay, no, it's fine, because these other services that can assist you to make your life and your business to work much more efficiently. So yeah, we can help you to set that up for you or with you, and you can run either a free session with your clients, and then you can just take it from there.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions? Christopher, you have your hand up.
Chris here.
Sorry, Vuyo, you will be next. Let me just get the question from Christopher, and then I can take you on.
Chris here. How are you guys doing?
Great. Can't complain, Chris.
Okay, firstly, thanks to you, Sia and Tolela for this. I've installed that app. I just want to ask a question with regards to the mentorship part, the WA Mentor app. Look, I have no check about starting a business, and this is why I'm actually sitting here in front of you guys. When reaching out for a mentor, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of many others on this group, on this call, how do you go about it? You just put your hand out there in this app, because I know I'm looking at the actual slides sent by Kolila earlier this week about the WA mentorship. How do you reach out? Do you just go out, put up your hand, say, hey, look here, I'm Chris. This is what I'm trying to achieve. This is what I'm trying to do in my business. Is there anybody out there that can help me? Is that how you go about it? Because it's a bit nervy.
Thank
If you know what I
asking
mean.
that. No, definitely, I understand. Sadly, that's exactly how that script that you've just shared right now is exactly how we should go about it. I'll tell you, one of the things that we will do, we'll have a panel of mentors just as a session similar to what we're having here, just to share what their experience and expertise are, and whom they can mentor. Remember, mentors have a specialization, and when you look at their profile on the WF app, it should tell you what their profile is. So you shouldn't, for somebody like me, you wouldn't come with me with the engineering business. I wouldn't be really of assistance. But if you come with a property one or an accounting business, I'm likely to be your mentor because I understand I've worked in that space myself. So if you understand what I mean. So it's very important when you're approaching a mentor, you speak to their level of expertise and what they said they could bring to the table.
Thanks, Chris.
Can I add on that?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, sure. Look, lucky enough, now with this virtual working and reality that we actually have, as it has just been mentioned, lucky enough, you can actually do that now. We've got platforms such as this one, where you can find a direct mentor in the specific industry that you actually work in. It's this one, there's VC4A, but there are a lot of these ones that are actually online, where you can actually search for, and you can just register your business in your specific industry, and you can find other ones. But I'll give you a hack before all this virtual reality actually happen. So what I do is so we used to attend networking events, like as a business development person or a salesperson, you attend any event that you can actually find that will allow you or help you to actually meet any person. So now the platform that you do have is LinkedIn. So if someone is usually constantly posting about emotional intelligence, business development, sales, marketing, or anything, I have spoken to a whole lot of people since the lockdown, since the lockdown last year to date, just by saying, hey, look, I know that you're good when it comes to digital marketing. Look, I'm struggling on this element. Is it possible that I can learn from you? People are always open. We have met with CEO of MTN, CEO of Vodacom. I mean, we've met with a lot of people, not just locally alone, but internationally. If you can just say, hey, look, when do an invite, right? Because an invite has got limited characters on LinkedIn. Hey, Sia, I know that you've been running a business for this X amount of years, and you are in the telecommunication space, and I'm running a company in the telecommunication space for 2 years now, and you know that you've got so much experience. I'm looking forward to connect with you so that I can learn from you. Simple as that. Then that person accepts you on LinkedIn, which is the one platform that I think that you can actually exploit at the moment. Once you have connected with the person, say specifically what you're actually looking for. Don't say you're looking for a mentor, because mentorship comes with a lot of responsibilities, right? Don't do that. I'll say that, hey, look, Cheslin, I know that you're doing great. I've seen your posts and things like that. I really appreciate. I think you're doing great, my friend. Not my friend, obviously. I mean, depends on the kind of relationship you want to build with the person. I think you're doing great. I've seen what you're doing. I would like to get to the level where you're at, or I'd like to learn from you on this specific vertical. I'm struggling with this. I'm running a business in this specific township. I would like to grow my business into other townships. So let the person know that you're trying to learn from them, but don't just say you're looking for mentorship. That usually doesn't work. Same applies when you're looking for funding from people that you know that can potentially unlock funding opportunities for you. Say, hey, look, this is where my business is. And the moment they get interest on finding out what or where your business is, that's where they're going to potentially open more opportunities. But let's take more questions. But I would say that don't say, I want you to be my mentor. That is a total turn off.
So be more specific, basically.
Correct, sir.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
But they, the foundation has created a tool that really can guide you through this process. And, Tolena makes this session so available that you can get the credible guidance that you need. And then the mentorships, they're really in this, they have suggested or opted that they want to take on, people like yourselves. So they are waiting for you to reach out. And business professionals are quite scared. They're scared to ask for help. And in this day and age, it's the wild, wild west. If you're not asking, you're never going to get. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Vuyo, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, thank you very much, Cheslin and Sia, for a very informative session. Thank you very much, Chance, and Kolena for
Pleasure.
making these gentlemen available. I just want to go back, man. There was a point that you guys mentioned on the triple PFA. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
So you do mention there the fact that the bigger companies would look for a smaller company, or not look for, but almost are forced to look for a smaller company on the government projects. I'm just interested to know, how do you get your foot in there? Because the chances are probably most of these corporates have existing relationships. They've got companies that they prefer to work with, how do you put your hand up and say, I'm available? I'd like to know how you actually get your foot in the door.
So step number one is you got to actually look at you got to have your finger on the trigger. So firstly, when you're involved with applying for opportunities, you got to see who's the companies that's been awarded these opportunities. So a lot of the time you would see these awarded tenders get put on, publicly. It needs to be publicly advertised. And you go, then you will obviously earmark a couple of companies in your industry. I can put you onto a couple of, we can speak offline, but I can put you on a couple of places where you see awarded tenders. Do you understand? So then you start following tenders in your line of industry. What's your appetite? What you want to go for? That way you will then earmark the people that's been getting the tenders, and then you start talking with them. A lot of the time, what I did at the beginning of my learning with procurement is I would look at the tenders that are in there, and I go to the site meetings when we still allowed site meetings, and I would write down all those companies' names and Google them and get the I won't like probably like today because of the Poppy Act was stealing, but back then it wasn't. It was totally cool with it. But I would take all that email address on the register, and I would contact them, and I'd call them, and I'd say, hey, I'm Cheslin from Trustlink Africa. I do this as a niche. I'm a small business. How can I get you? And you get a lot of rejections. But it's all about timing in business. There's going to be one guy that doesn't have somebody like Vuyo, and you are the sweet love that they needed. And that's how it's a lot of work, but that's how. And when you start playing in that realm, you see the doors opening. And it's all about just positioning your business, constantly knocking on the door, making yourself known that you're open, going to LinkedIn, write posts about your business, what you're looking to do, what you're trying to achieve, and you'll be so surprised that people actually contact you. People are open to having conversations with you. People want to obviously firstly know, are you credible? Do you have your compliance in order? Do you have the necessary can we trust you? Trust is a big thing with procurement. And once you get it right, my friend, you're in the lotto. You're in the lotto, because that's how you're going to start running your small, medium enterprise into a medium-sized business, into a large corporate, and you start building your team that way. But believe me or not, as much as I'm giving you this credible guidance, the people that actually does this and put in that amount of effort, it's a very far and few in between. And you see a massive gap in the market that large corporates rather get penalized. If you look at the JSC or the Future 500, these guys pay fees, big penalty fees, because they're not partnering with Black business entrepreneur companies. And you know what the reason is behind it? They actually can't find them.
Sure.
They truly can't find them.
There's actually a budget for that.
100%. 100%. There's every single tender that gets put out. There's a budget for the preferential procurement framework. But the thing is that, remember, the buyer has a decision. Do I either take this business without without that framework in place, or do we not run the contract? What do they decide to do? They give the contract to the particular person that actually applied an aptitude. So yeah, that's just I've been in this industry for the last 5-6 years. I don't know everything, but I do know a little bit, and that's what I can share with you.
No, thanks, Cheslin. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much.
Sure, Sia.
Can I add on that? My friend, the simplest way, the simplest and easiest way. This is one of the best, simplest ways that I can think of at the moment. So I thought about 2 to 3 things, but the one simplest way is if you can subscribe to a trust link or anyone that can provide you with tender notifications, please do use trust link. So you can see that there's a tender that is required by ABSA or by Department of Small Business or whosoever, right? You look at the tender document, you look at the scope of work, you go to the scope of work. When you look at the scope of work, you realize that, you know what, you can do a particular portion of that particular tender, right? But you can't do everything because you don't have capacity, you don't have the budget, you can't take the risk, you don't have the legal backup, you don't have everything, right? Say, okay, no, it's fine. When there is a briefing session for that particular tender, which mostly at this moment happens virtually, right? Attend that briefing session and try to find out, or ask the question, try to find out who actually attended that briefing session, and you look at the list of the companies. If you find companies that are much more bigger than you, right, and they say it's an open tender, if it is an open tender, the budget is usually bigger and there has to be that 30%. And usually on that tender notification or the terms of references, they do put that 30% has to be with a smaller business from a disadvantaged area or township or anything of that nature, right? It is there. So you go there, you look at those lists of companies, and then you reach out to them and say, hey, Skywalk, or well, hey, Bytes, or hey, whosoever, right? I think that we can actually work together on this 10 because I know for sure they are actually looking at that moment. If they attended the briefing session, it shows that one, they have an interest on that particular tender. Now, they may have other service providers that they work with, or sometimes they might be looking. So you can position yourself. So that's the one option, right? So the second option is have a list of companies that you want to work with, right? I have a list of companies that I do want to work with. Some in the banking sector, some in the consulting sector, some with the. So then I know that I want to work with Capitec. I want to work for a specific reason. I want to work with Deloitte. I want to work with Accenture. I want to work with, I've got a list of companies. Then you try to connect with people in that particular companies, right? You can go to supply chain. You can go to the head of business development or a head of business unit or whatever the case. You try to build that relationship with those companies. That sales cycle that Taron has actually explained earlier on, I know that sales cycle will take me at least 8 to 12 months. So for me to get to work with Deloitte without having anyone to introduce me, that relationship will take me 12 months for them potentially to actually get to the point where they do work with me. Right. So those are the 2 routes that I think that you can take. But the first one is actually the easiest one.
Yeah. No, thanks for that, Sia. Appreciate it. Makes sense.
Okay, we're gonna take our last question, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Anyone?
Looks like we don't have any last question. Your last parting words, gentlemen.
Cool.
Oh, excuse me.
So yeah,
Yes.
basically just to give you.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Hello.
Eric.
Go ahead.
Yes, you can hear me. This is Eric from Agri Africa. We are a small company dealing with farm inputs and then sales and marketing of hungry products for our farmers. But we have been running a charity work that's known as Hanging Vegetable Gardens, whereby we have been helping farmers to produce vegetables using their hanging gardens. And as I noted earlier, when we were starting this program on June this year, our project was documented by the Tech Journal of the United Nations. And by that, we received so many requests from the community-based organizations so that we can train them and then we fund them so that we can amplify the project, showing the importance it has to them. Now my question comes here. With the fact that we cannot service all the requests, how do we get the partners on board so that we can amplify the charity work? Because it's not giving profit, but it's charity work, and it's profitable to those people because they are producing vegetables and they have requested us, but we cannot service all of them. How do we get partners on board so that we can work on the charity thing? Thank you.
Cool. I'll take that question actually. So great work that you're actually doing. There are a number of companies in South Africa that you can actually partner with that has really an
I think it's based in East Africa.
Say that again.
I think the person was giving us a question is based in East Africa.
Yes, I'm based in Kenya.
In Kenya, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So I was saying that because we are all in the African continent, right? There are certain platforms that can help him achieve more of what they want to do at lower cost because there are technology solutions that has already been built. If they can build that strategic partnerships, they can get to do more without investing more money as they are doing community-based work. So that's the one thing, right? So the second thing comes down to there's another company in Nigeria that I've been mentoring, right? So no, not in Nigeria, I'm lying. They were in jeez, I forgot. But nonetheless, but they're in the SADC region in Africa. So what they were doing is they were doing not necessarily specifically identical or similar work that you guys are actually doing, but they're doing something similar in the agricultural space, right? They were helping smallholder farmers to commercialize their fresh produce to mainstream retailers. But then the way that they've actually approached this thing, I like the approach, and I think that is gonna be a great approach, probably on you or to your organization. So I would say that instead of focusing to all these requests that you actually have, so you can identify 2 to 3 most common producers from their request. If it is rice, it's coffee or anything else, say, look, we're gonna prioritize these few ones, right? Let's say there are 2, it's rice and coffee, right? Then you say, okay, cool, out of rice and coffee. So what you wanna do is we're gonna look at organizations that are gonna assist us that they can potentially fund us to assist the smallholder farmers. That's the first option. The second option is you can look at crowdsourcing. If I'm interested in a love coffee and I'm anywhere in Africa or anywhere in the world, and say, look, this particular smallholder farm, they're looking for $20,000 US, right? You can crowdsource that and you can actually get to assist them from where they are, and then they can grow whatever they need to grow, make profits and reinvest back into the guys that has invested into the crowdsourcing or into the crowdfunding sort of platform or sort of process that you actually have. So I'm happy to chat with you with specifically about that, because I know that there are people that have actually done it and they've made some money that supports them as a non-profit organization or as they're trying to grow their business, and they've made the money back to the investors 100% and even with some little bit of profits. But 2 things that I really want to leave with you. One is crowdsourcing or crowdfunding that you can actually use. Then the second one is focus on specific verticals. If it is rice, coffee, or tomatoes, or whatever the case might be, focus on those, get that part right so that you can set up the systems and understand what exactly works, understand the whole value chain. Then once you understand the whole value chain, then you can keep on adding other crops or other products in your particular channel, because you already understand it. But if you try to do a whole lot of things all at once, it's going to be difficult.
Can I add just one thing before I go? So Eric, for me, I feel that if I don't know Kenya so well, so please, forgive me if it's not really touching your touch point. But when it comes to your industry and you're trying to get your product, well, more support, right, for your business. A lot of businesses, and I'm not too sure in Kenya, but a lot of business has CI initiatives. Okay, there's a company called Batu that distributes shoes. They did it so well. They partnered up with big institutions to get them funding support so they can go give school shoes to across South Africa. Do you understand? Just an example. So if you create a training program for the agricultural industry, and you start training youth people on how to produce your crops, you go to big corporate companies and you tell them, guys, you have a training program that helps this, and you want some investment from their side, from the CI spend, to obviously pump into your business to educate and create this community of agricultural entrepreneurs, or to produce. You understand what I'm getting at? So that way you'll be able to and if I understand the question, how to get more supporting funds, if I'm correct, Eric. And that is a little way that you could possibly do it by asking bigger institutions because they need to spend CI money. That is a spend where they need to back, either training of skills or partnering up with BE businesses, or sorry, not BE. You want to maybe not understand that, but they need to back small entrepreneurs, and that is one of the ways you could possibly leverage, Eric. But yeah, I hope that answered your question with myself and Sia's answer.
I think you gentlemen have labored it quite well and given him the sufficient details in terms of his approach. But I think we should close the session now. Just your closing remarks, Cheslin and Sia as well after him, and I will then share mine.
Cool. So obviously it's 2021, and the African Trade Free Agreement has started gaining momentum with across Africa, and the life force of each of these 52 nations is the SMMEs. And believe it or not, we're dealing with South Africa on its own, but they are not ready to tap into this 2 trillion market. And what we're trying to do at Trustling Africa, we're trying to centralize this playground. Our North Star is to become the digital compliance platform across Africa as a whole. And in doing that, we focus on important aspects. We focus on things like, getting businesses compliant for tenders, readiness, funding opportunities. We focus on keeping businesses compliant for 365 days by helping them with compliance reports, alerting them of when things are expired. And also we help them share their compliance documentation through a seamless approach. And also, once again, we help with purchase order finance and funding for small businesses. We are focused at the moment in time in South Africa, but we are expanding into Africa. Our next project is Namibia, but I would like to send you guys a link to touch on our site, and hopefully you guys can see value. And by all means, I'm very customer centric. So you guys are a lot of startup businesses approaching business entrepreneurs, and I'd really love your feedback more than anything else to know if I am achieving the right market segment within my business. And as a community here today, I would love for you guys to help me, get this digital platform to the right people and give me guidance and tips on how I can improve as an entrepreneur. And that would just be my thank you, for sharing my words and guidance here today. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much for your guys' time, and I really, really enjoyed tonight.
Thank you, Cheslin.
Cool. Okay, so my closing remarks is the session was about business development, I would say / sales. As a founder, you know that you get to do everything when you're starting up to a certain degree or to a certain years of experience of running your business. I would say that try by all means not to be distracted by most of the things. Business development and sales plays a huge role in your business. If there's no sales, there's no business development, it's going to be difficult for you to actually grow your business, because most of the people that actually we speak to, they're like, yeah, I'm struggling to get clients. So if you can invest in anything over and above to help you with business development and to help you with sales, by all means do that. And the one person that can sell your business far much more better, your vision, your mission, and your business, it's yourself. So invest in yourself and invest in your business. That's the first option. The second option is you have this foundation that has invited you and that has created this platform for you. So reach out. Don't just attend an event and and then you don't. I think Cheslin shared contact details for us, and you've got contact details. I mean, you've been invited in this, but use the platform. Always reach out and look for assistance and support. So we are all here. We're all here to learn and learn things. Before COVID-19, nobody knew that it was going to come, and nobody became an expert all of it overnight to say, okay, this is how you can navigate through the lockdown. So we're all learning and we're all trying to experience different things. So by all means, try to reach out as much as possible. And apart from that, just have fun and try by all means to maintain your emotional intelligence or your emotions, because your emotions can sometimes get into the line of you being creative about growing your business. So that's it. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you so much, Sia and Cheslin, for those words of wisdom. I don't think I can do any justice beyond what you have just shared. Maybe I can say this then. When Cheslin has already mentioned this, I think, when you cannot make sales, trust me, you do not have a business. What you have is literally an idea or a startup that's trying to get into the market. He mentioned a number of things that are critical, which are part of the course that you are in. The market discovery, the customer persona, which we reiterate in the content of the course that you're in quite heavily. There's a reason and rationale behind that. Because when you know who you're selling to, it's easier to convince and understand their level of affordability, where there's a level of education, and maybe where they stay. Those are the nitty-gritties about the idealism of customer is really, really a great way to start. It doesn't mean that now you need to forsake other pipeline customer segments that you might be, they might be part of your strategy. So it's very important for you to really focus as you are building. Not get distracted by trying to be too big, too quick. You will miss a lot of great learnings that will that you can capitalize on as your business grows. Sia said something that is very powerful, and I wanted to stand up even though I'm too old to be standing up. He said, one of the things that are crucial to entrepreneurs is peer networking. I couldn't have said that any better. You have an opportunity and a platform here and now where you can use that which you would want for your business. You have the Wadwani app, Advantage app, which is a mentorship app. Those people are exclusively there, specifically for nothing else but mentorship. And obviously there are angel investors there, people who are looking for opportunities where they can invest. But this is one isolated platform where you can tap into. He mentioned LinkedIn and other platforms. This is great. He even gave each and every person tools and language that can be used to tap into that network of people that you are trying to reach. So if we have learned just the few of that I mentioned, obviously these guys have shared a lot, but these were some of the key takeaways for me that I have just wanted to reiterate. To you all, you are my heroes because you gave time this evening to fit into your learning. to Cheslin and Sia, guys, man, I'm so proud to be associated with you and doing such great work in the space that you guys are doing. My vote of thanks goes to each and every person that is here, and obviously to each and everybody that attended. My good nights. Good night.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Cheers, guys. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.